Hello, kiddies. It's me, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. You're listening to Drop the Mic.
Afraid raising the dead ain't within my power.
Will it be all right? Should I be afraid?
It's coming!
Looking for an old woman. She lives somewhere in the mountains hereabouts.
All she can do is take you straight to hell. You go home and you bury your boy.
Some folks say as how she's got powers.
Who are you?
Ed Harley.
What do you want, Ed Harley? Say it. You're looking for vengeance. Vengeance. Say it. There's an old graveyard way back deep in them woods. The thing you're looking for is in there.
It was an accident.
It's gotta run its course. Now it begins. It begins.
Welcome back to our humble San Diego podcast. I'm your host, Swan, and you are now listening to Drop the Mic. Thank you for tuning in as we continue our spooky film cycle with a double bill review for Pumpkinhead from 1988 and The Howling from 1981. But first, we have a few warm-up segments to get you all started out there.
And now for a special news report. Brought to you by Drop the Mic.
Now, in some pop culture news updates, first up we have Dave Chappelle recently wrapped up his stand-up deal with Netflix, with his final installment being released appropriately titled The Closer. Now, of course, I checked this out when it dropped. I think the day it was released, right? And it was really good, you know, and Dave seems to, like his entire career, he's been, like the center of controversy. And, you know, his stand-up is no different. Of course, his style of humor is very crude, which in today's age can easily offend people. So, you know, and this one is no different. It's a very hard-hitting end for his run with Netflix. But it was really good in my opinion, and I think he hits on a lot of strong topics as per usual. You know, Dave is a very intellectual individual. So yeah, this one, it's although it is very funny, it deals with some very strong issues, which could bother some people, or I have read that it's bothered some people, but I would say check it out for yourself. If his brand of humor isn't for you, then don't tune in. In some Transformers news, Rise of the Beast is set to release next summer and is currently still in production. This past week, the film's director, Stephen Capel Jr., took some time to shoot some of the first images of the vehicles being used on set. With the last film being an 80s prequel with 2018's Bumblebee, Rise will pick up just 7 years after the events of that we saw in Bumblebee. So this next film looks like it's going to still be set in the past, and if my math is correct, some kind of like the mid-90s, which is exciting, you know. more than meets the eye. Pretty cool. I'm glad that Transformers, although technically still these new films that are taking place in the Michael Bay universe, we've strayed away from Michael Bay as far as the directing eye, which is, I enjoy it. Bumblebee was solid, and I hope this next one continues to stop the detractors, Into more news, Pokemon and Universal Studios have decided to work together. But, unfortunately, the deal will only impact Universal Studios Japan so far. So if you are in the States, don't be rushing to see like a new Pokemon Land or anything like that just yet. Hopefully, within the near future, the licensing will come over here at some point. That would be pretty rad. In some box office news, Venom Let There Be Carnage obviously was released this past weekend, and it absolutely demolished its opening weekend. And it actually, if I remember correctly, dethroned Black Widow for the largest box office opening during the pandemic so far. But keep in mind, Venom, this new Venom installment had a huge advantage, not really opening up against any strong competitors. They missed Halloween Kills, they missed Dune. Every strong kind of heavy hitter, they opened beforehand. So, which was probably a good strategic move on Sony and Marvel's part. So, pretty rad. I haven't seen Venom yet, but I'm excited to see what all the fuss is about. Hopefully it's good. Carnage is one of my favorite characters, so I'm excited to see how that translates on screen finally. And then in some new trailer news, the New York Comic Con recently dropped a trailer for the newest Resident Evil, titled Welcome to Raccoon City. This first look is exciting because it looks to finally be following the storyline from the game, which is something that I believe Capcom and the studios have been talking to us about, where of course everybody knows the original Resident Evil franchise really went off and did its own thing, not really following the arcs of the video games, which is insane because Resident Evil, even to this day, has the most huge loyal fan base, as far as the games are concerned. So the fact that they're finally adapting, kind of rebooting the series and following what looks like Leon and Claire's arc, I would assume it looks like Resident Evil 2, where they keep focusing in on the police station. I totally could be wrong. It's been a long time since I've played those games, but that's the vibes I was getting. So if you haven't seen the trailer yet, please check that out. It looks pretty cool. Check it out. Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City. Moving on from news to our weekly recommendations, I have one for you this week, and it is VHS 94, which just came out on for streaming. It's available on the Shudder platform. If you don't have Shudder, I strongly recommend that you check out the AMC Plus app, which includes everything that Shudder offers, plus BBC, plus AMC as far as like the network, and then of course I'm a big fan and supporter of the IFC. So you get all the IFC Midnight stuff, all of their shows, everything from their cable channel. So you get all of that, plus Sundance stuff within the app. And I believe it's like $8.99 or something. So it's pretty cool. Especially if you don't have Shudder, it's a way to get Shudder plus so much more content. So check out AMC Plus if you haven't already. And going back to my recommendation, VHS 94 just dropped on streaming, and it is basically the resurrection of the kind of dormant franchise, the VHS franchise, where it's like a modern day creep show type deal, where you have one big story and then several short stories which are shown to you via VHS format within our bigger story, if that makes sense. So this one is no different. It's basically takes you through the perspective of a SWAT team who are infiltrating like a compound and come across a bunch of super illegal VHS content, and we get to, of course, watch a few isolated stories play out within this big compound. And if you like VHS, VHS2, and the third VHS viral, which is probably still the weakest one, I would say check out VHS 94. It kind of goes back to the roots of what made the original VHS so unnerving and fun, Also, fair warning, there is a lot of handheld, of course, kind of action happening on this. So if you have motion sickness, what have you, just be careful with this one, because can be a lot of that. But overall, great short stories of fun, again, playing with the social commentary of what's happening with us today. And it's a very good ride. The only sin I would say that VHS 94 really does is it feels very short, even though it's a standard horror film runtime. Because of you're doing an anthology type of storytelling, it feels like there's something missing or you want more. And once you check it out, you'll know exactly what I mean. But yeah, I just felt myself kind of scratching my head and wanting more at the end of this one. So, but nonetheless, it's very fun. Some very scary special effects and things that are seen. I don't want to ruin anything, but check it out on Shudder, streaming currently.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And now for the movie focus of the week.
So this week, or actually last week, while we were running the game episode, the end of September with Christopher Pollock, our local projectionist, we actually asked him at the end of that show which horror film we should do for this week. And he couldn't choose between the original Pumpkinhead or The Howling. The original Howling, I should say, as well. And so I had this idea to kind of cast a poll across our Instagram stories and let you as the listeners pick what we should talk about this next episode, this next week. And it's funny because for a long time, for the 24 hours, it was Pumpkinhead winning. It was 40 to 60%, and then the Howling fans came out swinging, and we ended up with a tie. So, with that being said, it seems like there's enough fans for both films where we would do we should justify a split episode.